Greetings, Tony from Old River Hard Goods again. Today we're going to take a look at the fascinating world of turnscrews, talk about some of the different styles and makers. I'm also going to throw in a quick segment at the end on some of my recent flea market finds. This won't be a regular thing until we get more into the summer flea market season, but it's a good way just to break things up a little bit. So sit back and enjoy. Hey, as I said, we're going to be talking about turnscrews today, and here's an assortment of them. A turnscrew has a flat blade, whereas a screwdriver has a round shaft leading up to the blade. Although we also have the cabinet maker's turnscrew, which has a little bit of both going. And I'm going to be talking about some of these, how I restored them, and then talking in a little more detail on some of the other ones that are sitting here. So sit back, grab some popcorn, grab a beer, whatever. I recently got this assortment of turnscrews, so I figured it'd be time, a good start for doing a video on them. But before we get into all that, I'm going to go do some cleaning on these guys first. And here they are, cleaned up somewhat. The upper one is a Curtis patent, 1871, made by Stanley. Second one's a Sargent. Third one's marked Douglas. I'm not sure if that's the Douglas manufacturer or not. I'll have to check into that a bit. And the last one's just marked warranted. I did have to do some sanding on the blades. The first three required a little more heavier, 180 grit and some 400 grit. The bottom one I just used a little 400 grip on. All the handles have some dings, stains, and patina. The Sargent was a little loose, so I put a little glue in there, but it's not going to come apart. This one wiggles a bit, but because of the patent button there, that's not going anywhere. This one's got user initials carved on it, and this one's got a user name stamped on both sides. Smaller turnscrews in the 4 to 5 to 6 inch ranges are very collectible and don't last here very long. The one here on the left is marked C.S. Osborne, late William Dodd. Dodd was an early leather tool maker who was succeeded by Osborne. And this is one of the few tools that shows that kind of mark on it. Needless to say, it was scooped up pretty quick by one of the top leather tool dealers in the country, who's also a friend of mine. The one on the right is a Huber. That's Henry Huber of Philadelphia. He made both leather tools and other tools around the 1870s. Might have worked longer than that, but that's the only dates I have. This one is what's called a gun case turnscrew, meaning this was made to go into a set of cased pistols. It's a little different style-wise than most of the smaller turnscrews, but those also are very collectible. These are some of my turnscrews that I use and have collected. If you watch my video on the shop tools that I use, you'll recognize the upper one, which was made by Willison and William E. Thayer, who were Williamsburg, Massachusetts turnscrew makers working in the 1850s. The tip on this one was relieved a little bit, but it works very well, and I've taken it apart well over 500 Stanley planes with this guy, as well as numerous other tools. The next one is signed, but the mark is too far gone to read. This one was modified for use with split nut saws, and while it is a bit on the rough side, the sides are dinged up and the tip's got a little bit of a bend to it, it still works when I have to use it. This one here is kind of neat. This was purchased over in England by a friend of mine who was over there on a tool buying trip. This one's also got a split tip, although I'm not sure it was for saws. It's fairly thick. Definitely 18th century with the file work on it. And note the unique handle, T-style handle, which you don't see very often. And this one, of course, is a reproduction. This is the kind that they sell at reenactments for flintlock bags and that. I've had some originals, but they're never this fancy. I'm sure there's one out there that is, but I've never seen one. Usually they're just fairly plain and simple tools. Two other small specialty turn screws. The one on the left is what we call a musket turn screw or screwdriver. A lot of times these were user crafted. They've got short wooden handles with fairly thick blades to them. Perfect size to go into a shooting bag or keep with your personal field kit. The one on the right is a really unique one. That one, I'm not sure it's 18th century, but it might be. And it's a reversible, thinking that was a gunmaker's turn screw. I had that one back in 2007, and I've never ever seen another one like that since then. And just to mix things up a little bit, we're going to do a little segment here called This Week's Flea Market Finds. Oh, at the top there's a Lignum Vitae cobbler seamer. C.S. Osborne, 2 3/8 inch arch punch, good shape except for the paint job. 1913 Brown and Sharp catalog from a Allentown, PA hardware dealer. Straight peen engineer style hammer. Different looking cobbler's hammer. Tack hammer. Neat smaller ball peen hammer, hand forged hatchet axe, although it's going to lose the handle because it's A, on backwards, and B, it's split. Blacksmith straight peen hammer, that's also going to lose the handle at some point because it's in pretty rough shape. Plumb tack hammer with the original handle. A little trustworthy paring chisel, a Buck Brothers 1/8 of an inch paring chisel, and a Buck Brothers 1/4 inch firmer chisel. Not a super great haul, but this time of year, it's not a bad one either. And that's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed my little presentation as always, and if you like what you're seeing, please hit the subscribe button to be notified when new videos are posted. And since it is the season, I want to wish everybody a safe and happy holiday season this year. And we'll see you the next time. Bye.